Well, good morning, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report, as well as Joe Boo's Day Job. Shout out to the 60 people who came through the live stream yesterday while we were plastering this wall. Doesn't it look good? Now we just got to get rid of that lime green mantelpiece, don't we? We just got to change that color. Why don't you guys drop here and give me a suggestion on what color the mantelpiece should be, okay? In fact, I'm going to do a poll to see what you guys think. What color should that be? Um, you know, we are 20 days away from, oh my God, 20 days away from training camp opening. We talking about practice, not the game, not the game that I love. We talking about practice. Yeah, we talking about practice. Let me. I got this cup of coffee from 7-Eleven about 2 hours ago, and this is the first sips I've had of it. So it's only lukewarm, but it's still good. Oh, thank heaven for 7-Eleven. We got all kinds of stuff that's going to be happening, and we'll have so much to talk about. That's why I'm here busting ass trying to get this place done, because I want my focal to be that I'm sitting, well, we're debating on whether my studio's going to be on this side or that side. My wife wants that side for her office because that's the bigger side, of course, and she figures I just need a smaller space. But be that as it may, because Dad's supposed to get the big piece of chicken. Dad is always supposed to get the big piece of chicken. Don't be one of them badass kids and take the big piece of chicken when you know your dad's supposed to get that. But be that as it may. It was interesting this morning because when I got up, there was a thing from Colin Cowherd, and the headline, this is on Bleacher Report. Cowherd says Cowboys will be champs. And I was like, okay. What happens a lot of times on YouTube now is you'll see clickbait titles of sites that you've never seen before, and you'll see, 100, 200,000 subscribers to it. And it's pirated stuff. Sometimes it's kind of sideways or they've pixelated it so it's like 3 pictures and all that. And it's like a YouTube farm in like China or something or other to try and steal the content. And they put a title in there that will trigger Cowboy fans. It'll be Colin Cowherd says that Dak Prescott's going to win the Super Bowl. He's like, what? And so you go through and click on it. Or, Adam Schefter says, and Adam Schefter ain't even on the video. So when I saw this in Bleacher Report, I was like, okay, so this is Bleacher Report. That's more credible than just some, I don't know who that is, site. So I started listening to it this morning, and I'm still trying to understand it. I want to play this for you guys. Let me pull a little closer here because I'm on my tablet.
The pressure is really high for Dak Prescott to get over the hump in his career.
Okay.
Really? I mean, this
really? That's what I
team
say.
is going to be much more Dak dependent. Zeke is gone. Amari Cooper is gone. Dalton Schultz is gone. His great offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, is gone. Tyron Smith is almost gone. He gives you about half a season, the great all-time left tackle. This is a very Dak-dependent team. And that's okay. Dak, pre-big contract, when he had more help, won 62.5% of his games and got a playoff win. Take away the franchise year, the year he was hurt. Post big money, little less help.
Post big
he won
money.
Actually 67% of his games and another playoff win.
So he won more games after getting paid?
That's where the wins came from. But Dak has always been
always puts an asterisk on it. Oh,
a little bit more athletic Kirk Cousins. He's Kirk Cousins with a star on his helmet. Is there huge pressure for Kirk Cousins?
Hold on for a second here. Hold on for a second. I'm going to call bullshit because it just hit me. I just had the light bulb go on. He says a lot of those wins are because the NFC isn't as strong as it used to be. Isn't the NFC least no longer the NFC least? Didn't 3 teams come out of the NFC East to make the playoffs last year? And the Commanders would have too had they not put Carson Wentz back in. So how can you turn around and say that you had all those guys right there alone that were playoff teams and you won against them, that is because the NFC is worse. But go ahead.
Cousins to get over the hump this year? Or do we sort of know what Kirk Cousins is? We know what Kirk Cousins is. And we know what Dak is. In fact, if you look at Dak through his 7 years and Kirk through his 11, they're identical quarterbacks.
Identical quarterbacks.
Their passer ratings are both 97.8.
Deja vu. Are you having deja vu like me? Because I was like, wow. Wow. We've been here before. You know what I'm talking about. Remember when he said, there's no drop-off between Dak Prescott and Andy Dalton. Look at their first 4 years. They're the same guy. You know, I remember seeing an article yesterday or a couple days ago. Andy Dalton says, I still believe I'm a starter in the NFL. Just saying.
Their completion percentages, 66%. Touchdown to interception ratio, 2.5 to 1. Kirk averages, 4 more yards passing a game, 261 to 257. One has a star on their helmet. I feel the exact.
And one has some incredible receivers, too. Do you realize that Stephon Diggs and Justin Jefferson were on that team with Kirk Cousins at the same time? He lost Stephon Diggs, but it had Justin Jefferson. Hello? And Dalvin Cook. Hello? Players matter, guys. Players matter. CeeDee Lamb, great receiver. But look at everybody else on there. You know he also had Adam Thielen? Come on, man. This is where I cry bullshit. But let's go on.
Same way with both. I trust them. They're adults. They're franchise quarterbacks. They win a lot of games. On any Sunday, they're A-, but mostly log in at about B++. And they're both fourth-round picks with kind of low ceilings, who are not going to ever outduel regularly star quarterbacks in this league. This league, though not as much as the NBA, is largely defined by the end of the year. You can keep your job if you just get into the playoffs. NBA, you win titles or you're not MJ. But if you go, since Dak entered the league, to the most January and February playoff wins, Dak is tied for 11th. And that's about where I put it. 11th. Brady's got 13. Mahomes 11, Burrow 5, Aaron Rodgers, Stafford, Jimmy Garoppolo got 4, Breeze and Matt Ryan 3. And then Dak shows up sort of coupled in with a lot of guys at 2, guys like Brock Purdy, Blake Bortles, and Ryan Tannehill.
Okay.
11th most January, February.
I love where they come up with these statistics. I mean, I've never heard this one before.
Dak is about the 11th or 12th or 13th best quarterback. I mean, maybe Dak gets over the hump this year and pops.
Maybe.
And maybe Kirk Cousins does too. The upside to being the quarterback for a team with a star on the helmet is Dak has made a bloody fortune in endorsements. Good for him. He's more talked about, but he's also more criticized, and expectations are higher. Somebody told me years ago, happiness is directly connected to expectations. Don't expect Dak with less help. No Zeke, no Dalton Schultz, no Kellen Moore. Tyron Smith is fading. Tony Pollard off a big injury. A twisted ankle to CeeDee Lamb. It's a below-average receiving core. It's ridiculous to expect Dak to get over the hump or pop in year.
Okay, so here's where he just lets you know that he's full of shit. Don't expect Dak without any players around him to win. But then you go through and say, well, Dak can't do it. I don't even know what to say on this.
Year 8, as it would be for Kirk Cousins in year 12. Happy 4th. So I saw this story.
So here's my thing on this title in Bleacher Report that says Cowherd says Cowboys will be champions. I've listened to it twice now, and I don't see where Colin Cowherd said they were going to be. I think he just said, don't expect Dak Prescott with an aging Tyron Smith, without Zeke Elliott, and so on, with, lack of everything to do it. So is Bleacher Report now becoming clickbaiters? I guess it's that silly season time of the year right now where we're all just waiting for something to happen because it's that time of year and nothing's happening. And we're looking for things to talk about because, sorry, I got to cry bullshit on that one because that was a nothing burger right there. But he makes the case, here's the thing. Statistics. My wonderful bride there, we had statistics together, mean, median, modes, modulation, and there's another one in there. You can prove almost anything you want with statistics by using different criteria for the statistics. To go through and say, well, Dak Prescott, and Kirk Cousins' numbers are identical, they're the same quarterback. I'm sorry. Having players around you, when you think of some of the players, tight ends that, like Kyle Rudolph that Kirk Cousins had, when Kirk Cousins came to Minnesota, they were a team that was at the NFC Championship the year before. So you think about Adam Thielen, Adam Thielen, who he had all the time, which was a great receiver. You think about Stephon Diggs. You think about Justin Jefferson. You think about the players that he's had around him to throw to. And I'm not saying that Kirk Cousins isn't a good quarterback because he gets a lot more flack than he should. Because the reality is it's hard to win in the NFL. Aaron Rodgers had the number 1 seed, and guess what? They lost their first playoff game against the San Francisco 49ers. And that was Aaron freaking Rodgers, who had Devontae Adams, Aaron Jones, and was the number 1 seed at home playing in the cold against a team that doesn't see freezing weather. And that was Aaron Rodgers. This there's nothing going on, so let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott and say they're trash. That's all it is. Because it's the only thing that gets headlines. And now even Bleacher Report is propagating. Is that the right word, honey?
Sounds like good.
Huh?
Sounds like good.
Okay, propagating more of the same stuff because they know everybody is just like on vacation waiting for the season to get here. I'm Mark Holmes, and I'm getting happy. You know what I think I'm going to get? I can guarantee you. Okay, so to be clear here, you're saying my studios are going to be over here, right?
Yes.
So no built-ins over here on this side? Huh?
No, definitely built-ins over there. Built-ins.
So I'm going to have a built-in behind my desk?
Oh, what you do over there? It's your business. Just your business. Do what you want to do.
I think, I plastered this over here yesterday, and it's driving some people crazy because they kept saying, why didn't you close that up? Because there's a reason behind that, okay? When you are plastering, you have to make sure the walls are wet. When you're plastering, the walls have to be wet. It's got to be saturated. It can't just be a little drip drip. It's got to be moist. So you have to hose down the bricks so it absorbs that water, because then the lime plaster, it suctions right into there, okay? If it's dry, there's no suction. And I patched that because that was like a chimney hole. So I'm still wetting the walls down so that way we get the suction out of it, right? So I'll be able to plaster that part later today. But I'm gonna work around on here and see if I can get that set up right there. And then I'll just go ahead and just set up. I'll take the sawhorses over here and I'll move them over there, and I'll just set up and say, here's my studio. Yeah, we're getting closer. And here's, I was wondering why my numbers seem to have gone down just a little bit right now. And I figured it's just because it's that silly season where there's nothing going on. But I realized it's because Jet D isn't watching, at least not watching the tapes. Jet D is like, and you don't do your morning video so I can listen to it live while you're doing it. Yeah. So it's like, he said I like doing that because then I don't get the ads. Anyway, I hope you're having a great Thirsty Thursday. I'm gonna get back to work because that's what we do. All right, peace.